What is this resistance?
It's primarily made up of escaped slaves, who have set themselves the goal of liberating others who weren't as lucky.
Slaves of whom?
Mirathur was one of the hubs of the slave trade in Orgoth. The orcs and the trolls from the surrounding tribes often came here to buy fresh slaves. Most of the people here were slaves, prisoners from Fiara, or abducted mariners. They drudged for the orcs, and an early death was the fate waiting for us. But after the Battle of Fiara, Dunan and Reowis showed up here, free rune warriors. They freed many of us and taught us how to fight, and that's how we founded the Resistance. As rangers, we fought the slave drivers, until the rune warriors began fighting among themselves, and the Resistance fell apart.
Would these people follow me because I'm a rune warrior?
No. Not even Grim can convince them to fight. They'd only follow Dunham and Reowis.
So it's my task to bring them back.
Yes, take Grim and Lina along with you and look for Dunnan and Reowis. Willett was a loyal follower of Dunnan. He knows where Dunnan has gone.
Good, then I'll talk to Willett. What do you know about Grim and Lina?
Me? Nothing. I'm just an old man. I'm not interested in those things anymore.
I mean about their origin and their history.
Oh, I see. Back then, Lina came to us with Dunnan and Reowis. She was initiated in magic by the Ice Elves, and she met the two rune warriors there. She's a good girl, and her heart's in the right place. That Grim must be an old acquaintance of hers, like you. He came to us one day after the Ice Elves had captured the city. Lena arranged for him to live with us. And since that day, he has taken over the leadership more and more. I think he's a little too hot-headed, but Lena and the others like that.
Do you know the saga of the Winter Dragon?
Ha! Who doesn't know it?
Tell it to me again.
The Winter Dragon. That's Arin, also called the Frostweaver. When the lands were still young, and the first children of the gods walked on the face of the earth, the dragons ruled the skies, and the mightiest of them all was Arin. He was the essence of winter. Wherever he flew, the land froze to ice. He moved across the world looking for a companion, a creature that was his equal, but all life fled from his chill. When his icy breath reached the great elven forest Finon Mir, Senwen, the last queen of the elves, set out to beg him to have mercy on her people. Alone in the frozen wasteland, she sang to herself to keep her courage up. The dragon hearkened to her song high above the clouds. He came down and listened to the song of the elf. The melody warmed his forever cold heart for the first time. Then he asked the elf to join him and remain by his side forever. And so, Arin flew off with Senwen to his home in the north. He wove a thick ice shell around them. Today we call it the Frostweaver Glacier. Down there, under the ice, she has sung for him since that day, while the dragon sleeps. In return for her sacrifice, the elves were given the ice magic, and the world had spring again. Yes, when all's said and done, we owe it to Senwen that the people and the kingdoms ever existed in the first place, because otherwise all life would have frozen solid in the dragon's winter.
Tell me about this land.
I've already told you about Mirathur. However, there are other routes leading to other regions. In the north, the road leads to Frostfall, which actually belongs to Fiara already. If you climb the mountains there, you get to Tyrganahke, to the land of the Ice Elves of the Arin cult. To the east of the city there is yet another portal, which is usually closed off by a gate. It leads to the lands of the Crimson Empire. That's not a place you'll want to stay. Even the orcs keep the gate perpetually locked.
What do you know about Tyrganahke?
That is a city on the Frostweaver's Glacier, high in the mountains of Fiara. The elves who live there are different from the common wood elves of Fiara. They are masters of ice magic and live according to strict rules. They ferociously defend the glacier and their holy places. Many people believe they are not true servants of the light anymore. They say that they even challenged a rune warrior in the Battle of Fiara.
So you think they're dangerous?
I think that power can destroy the spirit, but I can't imagine an evil elf, if that's what you mean.
Tell me about the Crimson Empire.
Shaldun, the Burning City. Once one of the greatest cities of the Dark Elves lay there, until the ground split apart and gave birth to a fire-spitting mountain that devoured half the city. Some Dark Elves interpreted this as a sign from Sarach, and so they now regard the city as their holiest temple.
But the Dark Elves are pledged to the night god Nor, aren't they?
That sect from Shaldun may still acknowledge Nor, but they consider themselves the chosen people of Zarach. They study the magic of the fire, and yearn to sacrifice in flames the other lands to their lord. Let's hope that gate stays locked up forever.
How could Grim trick you like that?
I know him from earlier times, from before the war. We were almost just children when I decided to study the lore of the winter with Ilune. Grim was always a hothead. He was infuriated about our separation and sailed far away on the first ship that came along. After that, I heard nothing more from him until he suddenly showed up in Mirruture on the day the Ice Elves came. How could I have been so gullible? But he was so determined. It was exactly what we needed after we lost Dunhand and Reos. But his passion for battle, his fear of the cold, I should have put two and two together. I guess love really makes you blind. But now my eyes are open. And these eyes will see the traitor die, I promise you.
Did you learn your magic from Ilune?
Yes, when I came here I was almost still a child. Ilune indoctrinated me in the spells of ice magic, but allowed me to retain my faith. But at some point in time, after the Battle of Fiara, rune warriors came through Tyrganahke. They told of the battle and the fate of the slaves in Mirruture. You can imagine the rest.
But why did you let them turn you against your teachers?
These elves up here are different than the ones in the forest. Colder, harder. Many people say they are no longer servants of the light, and don't believe I didn't hate them during my apprenticeship. But I should never have taken up arms against them.
What really happened? Was everything just a lie? No abducted queen, no dragon awakening?
Not everything the fire servant told you was a lie. The queen under the ice was really abducted. The Fial Darg stole her away with the aid of his art of disguise. Then he fled to Mirruture to take refuge among his orc servants. We followed him. The White Priestess succeeded in putting a spell on him, but the queen had disappeared. We questioned the Fial Darg, but he just jeered at us, and so we enclosed him in ice in the hope of breaking his will. Meanwhile, this Grim must have taken the queen out of the country without being noticed. Then he tricked you so he could liberate his lord and open the gates to the Crimson Empire.
Why do you think the Fiel Darg abducted Senwin?
We know it wasn't because of the dragon. He couldn't care less about him. Bear in mind, Senwin is very special. She is a godchild, a firstborn, one of the first elves to wander over the globe. The blood of the firstborn still contains the magic of the gods, and rituals carried out with this blood have divine power. That is why the Fial Darg had to abduct Senwin, because there aren't many firstborns left. She might very well be the last one. On Willow Winter Day, the disk of the sun will cover Aonir's star. Then he must sacrifice her to achieve his plan. Bringing the dark gods back to Ao. This creature does not care what might then happen to us, to Arin, or even to his own servants.
What must be done now?
The queen must be set free. Even if it costs us our lives, she must return to Arin.
Or he will set out to search for her.
And with him, eternal winter will come over the world. He is still weak, but we can already sense his fury.
But how will we find the queen?
Oh, finding her will be easy, but no light believer can get through to her alive. The fire of the Crimson Empire would consume you. Even our Winter Guard could not penetrate into Shaldun, the burning rock, which is ruled by the Fial Darg. We have to find a way to withstand the flames. I remember that the dwarves once knew of a way to be spared by the fire. Talk to Ideal, our high priestess. She knows the legends.
Do you know of a magical protection against fire?
There is a story about the old dwarf smiths who were able to withstand the greatest heat at their forges. They called this magic the Firebang, an old secret they always guarded well. Wars and time have wiped out most of the old smiths. We only know of one who is still alive. His name is Windjalf. He lives in Fastholm, the dwarf town in the Grimwarg Mountains. To get there, you must keep to the east. Before that, however, you will have to cross an old battlefield called the Winterdeep. It's a dangerous place. Once someone has opened the city gate for you, follow the trail to the east. Watch out for the trolls who live there.
Why did the Fial Darg abduct the queen from the ice?
If you think he did this to release Arin and bring us all the winter death, then you're wrong. He couldn't care less about the dragon.
He couldn't care less about the Frostweaver?
No, the one and only thing he is after is the queen's blood. That's what he wants. The blood of a firstborn. You see, there are magical rituals that can influence beings or natural forces, and there are rituals that can even move the gods.
He wants to bring the dark gods back to the world?
Yes, and only the blood of the godchild, a firstborn, contains the force to power that ritual. When the sun on Willow Winter Day covers Aonir's star, he will perform the ritual. If he succeeds, he will open a gateway in the spell of the gods, and the renegades will return.
Then Nor and Zarach will again wander about the world. But what a world that will be. A world of ice in which a lonely dragon calls in vain for his dead queen.
Yes, but Zarach created the Dark Nations. Why shouldn't he be able to bring forth new races? And the Fial Darg will wait for his master in the abyss, in the heart of the world. We fear the dragon just as you do, for his wrath drives the creatures of winter out of the mountains and against our walls. But what truly strikes fear in our hearts is that ritual on Willow Winter Day.
How much time do we have?
Enough to take action, not enough to give long speeches.
Trolls? On Arin's sacred mountain?
Their presence is an even greater calamity than yours. They came here from the Winterdeep. They dug an old Sharok idol out of the ice, and now they worship it. They call it the Great Mugwa, and they're waiting for it to reveal itself to them. May winter devour them. We would have done them in ages ago, but they hide from our arrows and hurl mighty rocks.